Howdy folks, Stippling here with a look at set number 71314, Storm Beast, one of the villains in the summer 2016 wave of Bionicle. Let's open it up. Before we get started looking at the parts, I want to just briefly comb through the instruction manual. The instruction manual runs until page 38, and you'll see an inventory of parts, a teaser for what's to come in 2016, some references to a combiner model which includes all 4 of the villains, and that's all. We're going to go through these parts fairly quickly, so feel free to pause this video if you want to take a closer look at the individual parts. This wave reuses this brain stock from 2015 as opposed to the shorter brain stock introduced in 2016. This one is shown in trans neon greenish yellow. Storm Beast includes 6 of these claw pieces in trans neon greenish yellow. I believe this is the first time we've seen these in that color. Storm Beast is all feet, no hands are included in this set. Strangely enough, Storm Beast does not use the waist-articulated torso introduced in 2016. This instead is an alternate torso that was introduced in the Star Wars line of CCBS. It doesn't even have a spot for the head that has to be attached separately. Storm Beast includes 2 of these crystalline armor pieces. Unlike typical armor pieces, these come with no attachment points for additional armor attachments, so what you see here is what you get. Speaking of armor attachments, we have this breastplate here. It's molded in black with some neon greenish yellow and blue printing on it. As with the other chest plates in this wave, I can't help but think this looks like eyes. Storm Beast comes with both halves of the shadow trap attachments. A fairly new color to the CCBS system, Storm Beast comes with 3 of these dark blue armor pieces in size 4. I believe this is also the first time these have been seen. The only other dark blue armor pieces I've seen thus far were in Kopaka 2016. Like the other beasts, Storm Beast comes with this Bionicle head in trans neon greenish yellow. Storm Beast's face is also a mask. Using these extensions just like any other mask, it attaches to the face. What's interesting to note about these masks is they actually sit a little bit higher than the actual eyes. They merely use this head as a means of attachment. With the upper part of the face comes a lower jaw region which attaches to the brain stock and is used as a mask pop-off. You hook the back of the jaw and the mask flies off. Lastly, this set comes with a corrupted version of Kopaka's Mask of Unity, melded from a white to a trans neon yellowish orange. I don't know if this is my version of the mask, but the molding looks pretty terrible and messy. The mask also doesn't even come with a stud to attach to the visor. Those are our parts, let's snap them together and make Storm Beast. This is an exceptionally early stage of the build, and I'm showing this because the torso build is so complex that I want to make sure I show each part. This is the first thing we add to the torso. I believe this is where the neck will connect. A left shoulder. And a right shoulder. This thing looks like the neck of a Frankenstein mock. The tail, I guess. I think I might have missed these before, but these are Mixel style ball joint linkages. I've never seen them quite like this. They may not be new, but I've never seen that little middle beam there. Oh. Dun, 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 dun. This torso was brought to you by NASA. And splat. You know the drill. Why the long neck? At least someone remembered to put the mask on last. So this is the dreaded Storm Beast. He almost looks like a creature of the Black Lagoon who just crawled out of the deep waters with seaweed all over his extremities. He definitely looks more beast-like with his oversized claws, hands, and feet. I don't really know how I feel about this guy overall. I didn't expect to like him that much, and my opinions haven't necessarily changed in terms of his overall look. There's just something about him that looks incomplete to me, and I can't quite put my finger on it. I think instead of delving too deep into my thoughts on this model, I'd be better off if I just showed you how it works, and then analyzed my overall opinion on it. As with the other beasts, the Storm Beast comes equipped with a Beast Mask of Corruption. Try saying that 5 times fast. The Storm Beast's mask can be popped off using the back of the head. Alternatively, brave heroes can instead hook their blades underneath his jaw and pop it off that way. While Storm Beast is faceless, I briefly want to just touch on the fact that the accessory mask, Kopaka's mask, that comes with this set has no way of connecting to this figure, though that does look pretty terrifying. I will waste no more time and let the star of the show of this set take over from here. The gearing mechanism on this figure is insanity. Just when I was building it, I barely could grasp what was happening before my eyes. Storm Beast's arms are hooked up to this double linkage system which is connected to his tail. When maneuvered, this tail can allow for his arms to adjust in posing. Moving Storm Beast's tail to the right will move his right arm down, while moving Storm Beast's tail to the left will move his left arm down and his right arm up. Moving both sections of the tail up will force the arms down, while moving the tail down will move both sections up. This sounds simple, but when trying to intentionally maneuver him in a certain way, it gets very confusing. With all of these actions moving in contrast with one another, it becomes difficult to understand. It took me a while to play with this before I felt comfortable doing a review on it. The ball joints on this figure are completely useless for posing. Instead, they're used to adjust intricate angles to manipulate the system. At its core, this function is completely dependent on gravitational pull, and the counterbalances between the tail and the arms. The arms need enough forward positioning to allow the tail to stand up straight. Pull the arms too far backward and the tail will be forced downward. While this gearing mechanism is impressive and exciting, it can become a nightmare for posing. Again, it took me very long to feel comfortable with this, and then once I felt comfortable with it, it was just as hard to try to pose this thing up. Storm Beast is not equipped with any weapons, opting instead to slash, swipe, and bash his way to victory. His ace in the hole, however, is what Lego bills as his battle tail, a clawed tail that can grab at foes and steal masks. Storm Beast's head is good at posing in almost every direction except up. It just cannot look up. The primary culprit of Storm Beast's head's lack of upper motion is due to this Glatorian neck being posed sideways. It hits with the brainstalk and does not allow for it to go up. Unfortunately, the head itself cannot compensate by turning in a different direction because it still cannot make that motion happen. However, it has a perfect range of motion from left to right and down. The upper portion of the figure looks exceedingly awkward at this angle, though I do appreciate the way these shoulders can roll back. Storm Beast's arms are jointed at 2 points, lacking an elbow entirely. Instead, you get this extra large limb piece to compensate. This limb piece is not successfully covered by that one crystal armor attachment and looks hollow and barren. Storm Beast's hands are a good example of a good idea gone terribly wrong. While I like these fingers, the exposed socket piece on the hand just looks horrible. Also, the way the hand is attached to the wrist is very long and the actual hand goes very far away from the wrist before it starts. While I always appreciate motion, this motion on the thumb is not really necessary, and what actually ends up happening is it can frequently pop the thumb off if you're not careful. This thumb, just in the posing process of this video, fell off maybe 3 or 4 times. Due to lack of upper motion on Storm Beast's head, it becomes kind of hard to see this chest piece without angling him up. I'm not a huge fan of uncovered legs, but I think Storm Beast does an okay job at this. I think he would do well to have 2 additional Borak eyes in trans neon greenish yellow on these axle holes as kneecaps. The feet are very simple, relying on one single Technic beam with a 90-degree turn on it to serve as counter stabilization on the back of the foot. I do not feel as though this is enough stabilization for the feet, primarily due to how obtrusively far back the tail can lean. The back of this figure is a mess, and the tail frequently looks more like a lever than a tail. At its best, you can do some manner of curved posing to make this tail look more organic, but it often ruins the arms posing. These open and exposed Technic pieces look unfinished to me, and the linkages on the back of the figure look almost more like a back brace than muscles or appendages. That being said, I do not feel like this function ruins the back of the figure. It's not perfect to me, but I think the sacrifice doesn't destroy the appearance of him. Most of it's hidden in the back, and the backs are notoriously not as good looking as the front anyways. I'm not a huge fan of the way this tail ends up. It looks more like a Venus flytrap to me than a tail. When looking at a size comparison to these two figures, it's clear that they are fairly evenly matched. The only disadvantage for poor Kopaka here is that he may be facing 10, 20, or 30 of these at one time. My money's with the Storm Beast. While we have Kopaka center stage, let's take a look at his corrupted mask. Kopaka does not look healthy with this mask on, and I would advise him to seek a doctor immediately. So that's really that. I'm still kind of on the fence with this guy. My initial judgments when viewing the official product photos weren't really proven wrong here. He has an impressively amazing action feature that slightly hinders posability. At a cost to this action feature comes some of his appearance, needing long, empty arms to be able to move back and forth, and an excessively long tail with limited posability. His custom legs are simple in construction but don't look too bad to me. While I like what they tried with the hands, I hate that open socket piece and the fact that the thumbs frequently fly off. How is he supposed to grab Kopaka's mask without thumbs? Oh wait, the Venus flytrap tail, that's right. His color scheme is exceptionally contrasty, but I think it works for him. I could spend hours playing with this action feature, and I probably will after this video. So what are your thoughts on this figure? Do you think using feet as hands was a good idea? What about his color scheme? Does it work for you, or is it too much for your eyes? And lastly, and biggest question of all, do you think the use of this action feature was worth any negatives on this model? I will look forward to hearing everyone's responses, and as always, thanks for watching.